It had been a very interesting off-season for the CFL with labor disputes and lots of other very interesting things that happened, but we still got to have a CFL season, which will be starting on Thursday. Today we have Jace Maki here to talk to us about the CFL season. So let's start off with our defending champions. What do you think about the Blue Bombers? Will they be able to capture that third Grey Cup ring in a row?
I'm not going to give a definite yes, but I think the Blue Bombers are definitely, I'd say, the best positioned team right now to go and three-peat. That's crazy, you know. Like you were saying, very interesting off-season, and even last season was it wasn't a normal off-season or a season. It was a shortened season. Winnipeg, they did great in 2019, had that year off in 2020, came back and really dominated the league on both sides of the ball. They have a great culture there that Mike O'Shea has established. This year, they have some holes to fill on the offense. So they still got their quarterback, Zach Claros, who I think everyone is expecting to have another great year. But they're missing Kenny Lawler, who was a great receiver for them. I think he was the only receiver in the league to go past the 1,000-yard mark. And they're also going to be missing hometown boy Andrew Harris. So they're going to have to fill those gaps. They already went out and got Greg Ellingson in the offseason from the Elks. So they're hoping he'll kind of fill that receiver role on the offense. And then the reason they got rid of Andrew Harris was they felt like they had the depth there. So I think the greatest strength for Winnipeg is they have the depth really across the board in all their positions, and they got that strong culture.
Yes, yes. And so in that Western Conference final, they beat the Saskatchewan Roughriders, so close to making it to that Grey Cup final.
Yeah.
What would you say about the Roughriders? They've made some changes this year as well. What are their chances to try and dethrone the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at the top of the Western Conference?
Well, I think Saskatchewan has always been a good team. They made the playoffs, they made the Western Final, like you said, but they haven't been able to turn that corner and make it to the big game. They've got added pressure this year too because Saskatchewan is hosting the Grey Cup. They were supposed to in 2020, then it got pushed to this year, so they're hosting that. So that's extra pressure on quarterback Cody Fajardo. So we'll see how he responds there. They also are going to have to fill a hole at running back as well. William Powell left in free agency, so they're going to have to figure out where they're going to go when it comes to the running back. And also they have to keep their quarterback standing upright. I think Cody Fajardo is great at scrambling, but sometimes, that's when he'll make his mistakes when he's having to scramble too much. So I think Saskatchewan is in a good position, but it remains to be seen if they're going to be able to actually make it at home. They have that added pressure. Rider Nation is going to be there in full force, and I think they're going to be cheering extra loud this year because they want the Riders to win the Grey Cup at home. Who doesn't want that?
Yes, for sure, especially since last time the Grey Cup was in Rider Nation, they ended up capturing the Grey Cup. And then finally, the Edmonton Elks, they had the worst record in the league last season.
Yes.
Don't
remind me.
Yes, it was very unfortunate for us Elks fans. What are they? They've got a new coach under center, some new quarterbacks, a bit of a controversy there. What are you expecting from the Elks this season? Yeah,
they have a new old coach, hey? Chris Jones is back, and I think that brings a lot of excitement to a lot of Elks fans. There was a little bit of maybe he left some bitterness in people's mouths when he left to Saskatchewan, but I think everyone's kind of welcoming him back. I think Edmonton is going to have a better year this year than last year, but there's still a lot that they need to sort out. So I don't think they're going to be making a strong push to the Grey Cup, but I think there's a chance they could maybe even be a crossover team and head and play the playoffs in the Eastern Division. They have a lot of questions to answer, especially when it comes to quarterback. They had 4 quarterbacks come in during training camp, and at the end of everything, they still have 4 quarterbacks on the roster, so there's a lot to figure out there. Nick Arbuckle was a quarterback they acquired under the previous general manager at the end of last season. He didn't play a snap. It seems like he is going to be slotted in that first QB spot, and he had a good first preseason game, was injured, and didn't play in the second preseason game, but he's back, was practicing this week, and it looks like he'll be starting that game against BC for week 1. We'll see how he does. They also have Taylor Cornelius, who was a starter to finish off last year. They also drafted Trey Ford, who's a Canadian quarterback who they seem pretty optimistic with. And Kai Loxley is another quarterback on their roster who can also play receiver and who did fairly well in their second preseason game. So we'll see how things go there. Chris Jones also brought in players like Tony Washington, some players that kind of know his system. So we'll see where they go, but I definitely think this will be an improvement, but I don't think they're going to be at the level of, let's say, Winnipeg or even Hamilton.
Yes. Well, hopefully we'll see a little bit better season from the Elks and a little bit better season for the CFL as in general. Last season wasn't exactly great for their revenues, but it certainly will be a much more exciting season, much more fuller season, and something that all Canadian football fans will be able to look forward to. Thank you so much, Jace, for being with us today. And like I said, Game 1 will be starting on Thursday between the Calgary Stampeders and the Montreal Alouettes. And so we look forward to that, and we'll have more CFL coverage later on down the line.